I do read the comments, and every so often I see somebody post a comment that maybe make a negative claim about something, and I just have to kind of show you guys in video that what they're claiming is actually not exactly true. Just for you guys that post comments, I just saw this comment that was posted about the Cloner Alliance Box Pro I did the review on a while back. And someone has to say that the biggest concern about the device is playback. I bought this device for playback in the field, and what I've learned was very disappointing. If I knew that it would not, I would not have bought it. The device will not play back recordings that were not recorded by the unit itself. This means you cannot load a video onto an SD card or a hard drive for the Cloner Alliance to play back later. The video playback must be recorded on the device. That's not exactly true, and I'm going to show you that right now. Now, the video needs to be in the correct format. If it's not in the correct format, obviously it's not going to play it, but I'm going to show you it playing back recordings that I made with my camera and edited, and they were actually recordings that are up on YouTube. So let's take a look at it. This is my Cloner Alliance Pro box, and this video is directly in response to the fellow that made the comment that the Cloner Alliance can only play back recordings that were made on the device. And that is simply not true. I'm going to show you. Directly behind here is the hard drive that's plugged in, and as you can see it says uploads July 1st, 2024. These are uploads to my YouTube channel. These are my backup copies of recordings that I did production-wise, recorded on my Sony camera, and edited with Adobe Premiere, and the output is directly to MP4. Here's the videos on the screen. We'll just play a video back here.
Today I'm going to put up my Yachin MC10T vacuum tube amplifier on the bench. It hasn't been looked at in many years.
You can see it's playing on the
15 years now, and it's never
the Cloner Alliance just fine.
I've changed out two.
If I go to fast forward,
hurry up.
I can fast forward it here. You can see the counter is going faster. I can go to all the different speeds, back to play.
Pull it apart. We're going to take a look at this. Give it a good old once over. This thing hasn't been checked out in years. This thing's got to be at least 15 years old. I think that's how long I've had this.
So that's it playing. You can see if I pan the camera over here, you can see the hard drive flashing away, and the light is flashing here on the front of the Cloner Alliance.
That I've ever heard. The sound quality off this.
It certainly does play back recordings that were made on other sources. I don't know about playing stuff that you download off the internet, for example, because it needs to be in H.264. I'm just going to stop this from playing here. It needs to be in H.264, so it needs to be in the correct format, but it will play just fine.
Most of the equipment that you see me work on here is relatively modern. I mean, I've worked on a few old tube radios in the past. I've never worked on a vacuum tube.
As you can see, here's another one I'm playing. Now, I'm not saying that every single video is going to play, because again, it has to be in the correct format. But if the video is encoded in the correct format, it will play them no problem.
Today we're going to do it.
Here's another old one, even older.
We're going to roll the clock back 20 years. That's what I'm showing you. Probably I should do that too. But yeah, we're going to roll the clock back 20 years and look at the first generation ADSL modem. The first one I ever had. I waited years to get this thing. And
so there it is, playing another one. This is from even older. These are older files that I just took off my hard drive and put them on an external drive. But they certainly are playing just fine
It was March 1st.
On the Cloner Alliance.
2000. I had been on the waiting list for 2 years to get.
And if I press the stop button on here,
at my house,
you'll see that it stops. It is definitely playing. So perhaps it's the firmware. Mine is running a very old version of firmware, so maybe they updated the firmware on newer models, but what I can say and prove to you is that mine will play files that I rendered out on my computer. Now, I have not tried to play stuff that I've downloaded. It likely will not play content that's downloaded if it's not encoded into the format that it requires. These files are all rendered out at 1080p 60 frames, which is the format that I shoot in. So it may not play back stuff in 24 frames or 30 frames or anything other than 60, which is what it records in. It records MP4 1080p 60 frames progressive. That is the format I render out in, but it plays my files just fine. Your results may vary, but this is just a quick update to the fellow that said that it doesn't play other files. That's not true. It does, at least mine does. Now, again, I have not updated the firmware. Mine was, when I got mine, I had the original firmware that was stored on it when I got it. I know there's been firmware updates since then. From what I understand, the firmware updates that were released were to disable it being able to record copy protected content. The one I have records everything. It doesn't care. It can have macrovision, doesn't matter. It can have HDCP, doesn't care. It records everything. And for that reason, I'm not going to update the firmware on it. So maybe they disabled the playback on the newer ones, but the one I've got certainly plays my files that I do on the computer of my videos just fine. But I didn't get it as a device for playing back. I got it as a device for recording content. And for that, it is flawless on anything I've ever given it.
Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.